Ladies and gentlemen, the table has been summoned. This is not just any regular episode. This is a debate episode. So obviously we've had previous debates, David Sheldon, Ben, Clark. But if you're new to this debate episodes, we have two of our Wrestling Republic team members joining us at the table. So yeah, it's gonna be fiery. It's gonna be no holds barred. It's gonna be uncensored. So be sure to grab some popcorn, like, share, and subscribe. Obviously, most importantly, and let's take it to the table. All right. So yes, like I said, we have two Wrestling Republic team members here at the table, and I will be obviously introducing a returning person at the this debate episode. It is none other than Shad. How you doing today, sir?
When I was 5 years old, my dad said to me, my bad, I was reading a memoir by Rebecca Quinn, also known as Becky Lynch, that it was also signed by yours truly, to yours truly. You know what I'm saying? We here. We got a debate to do, you know. I'm back again with the debates. You know, I like to debate. You know, we just, it's election season is done, but I'm here to bring the smoke, and I'm ready for it, man, because I got to honor the GOAT today, and the GOAT will be honored well.
Wow. Okay. That's what we say. He's representing, as you can see. That's a little clue as to what we're going to be talking about today, and then there's of course Becky Lynch. But obviously we'll get into that, and then obviously we'll try and settle this once and for all. But making their debut at the table, she is obviously a resident of the Wrestling Republic universe, so to speak, and yeah, she is someone that is how could I what's the right way to put this? There's no introduction needed. She is the wonderful, the beautiful Megan. How you doing today?
Hi, I am doing well. As you can see, Shad is putting on a little front, like he's reading a book of someone that I feel is maybe a little overrated, maybe a little maybe a little too high on a pedestal, and I'm ready to argue my point, argue my claims. So I'm ready. I'm here.
Indeed, you are. Yes. Well, welcome to the table, Megan. It's obviously great to have you here, and yeah, obviously, what we're bringing to the table is, of course, the argument: is Becky Lynch the GOAT? Is she really the greatest of all time? I mean, there is a fair argument out there. She has a few accolades to her name. She's also known as the Man, Big Time, the Irish Lass, Kicker, if that she's still being called that. And yeah, she's main evented WrestleMania. Not many people can really say that. And yeah, she's a multi-time women's champion across all three brands. And but yeah, it's obviously Shad is got to meet the one and only Becky Lynch and got his book signed by the one and only. So yeah, obviously he's his heart beats for one Becky Lynch.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, it's an understandable argument. So let's just start on not necessarily a positive note, but obviously with the fan that is obviously beating the drum for Becky Lynch. Chad, the floor is yours. Why do you think that Becky Lynch is the greatest of all time?
Well, let's get some context here. I appreciate my counterpart being here today. There was a bit of a mini argument on an episode of Sunday Spotlight between Megan and I, because there is a top 20 WWE superstars list of all time from Sports Illustrated, and Becky Lynch was the lone woman on the list at number 20. And the debate came across as, not having enough women on the list, which I definitely agree with, but Becky being the only one there kind of means that she's the GOAT of women's wrestlers in WWE. And I think it's pretty right, accurate claim. Reasons why I think Becky Lynch is the GOAT. You talk about being a professional wrestler in this industry. I feel like the things that matter are in-ring ability, character, mic work, marketability, and I feel like she checks every single box. You talk about storytelling, she's able to check those boxes. She's created so many main event type moments, like you said, a WrestleMania. We're talking about accomplishments. She's a 7-time champion with the both main titles, Raw and SmackDown, whatever they're called now, might alter the names. She has won an NXT title, but the reason I feel like she's the GOAT is because it is just the mantra, the character that she is. I feel like she is able to hold her own, and we're obviously all within the same age range. I have a lot of high respect for the women that have wrestled prior to it in the 80s, 90s, even the 2000s when women's wrestling wasn't as coveted as it is now. But I feel like she is a flag bearer that kind of established what women's wrestling is today. I feel like she's a person that is why you take women's wrestling more in a serious nature, where you can kind of make it comparable towards men's wrestling compared to what we had before, where it was over sexualized and whatnot. And I just think character wise, I feel like she's able to reinvent herself in many different ways. I feel like she's also an elevator, right? She's able to help talent that she goes against as well. You talk about the likes of a person like working with Bianca Belair, working with a Tiffany Stratton recently, all the NXT girls that she was able to work with, Lyra. She's able to kind of give them a rub and help them out. And I just think that is what makes a GOAT, when you're able to cover base and do all of that. And let's not talk about what she was the man. Like, she was probably the hottest commodity in WWE, damn near character-wise at that point. Like, that's just something that she's able to kind of hold base to. And I don't think I can think of another women's wrestler who covers all of that. I'm not saying she's the best in-ring wrestler, but I do think she's just the best WWE superstar that is a women's wrestler. And I don't think there's a woman in pro wrestling that can mess with her on the mic. Truth be told, there ain't a lot of dudes who can mess with her on the mic. Like, she's got it all. She gives me she's the type of wrestler that I like being a fan of, because I love people that command the room, that can talk that shit to you. It's part of my French. Like, that's the type of stuff that I really like. And yeah, man, all the accomplishments, she's kind of done it all. Won a Royal Rumble. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's just easy to just label her the GOAT. So that's a short answer for why.
Interesting points you made there. Yeah, there is a fair argument that she could be GOAT, if not one of the GOATs of in WWE, or of women's wrestling. The accolades speak that. In terms of her being one of the best talkers, I mean, she actually hung out with John Cena on the mic and did pretty well at one point. So yeah, that is also a fair argument as well. Quick question as well. While we're on this, I remember I think there was one daily that we spoke about, and it was about, and Becky Lynch was the topic, and we were saying like the women's the locker room needs her right now.
Yeah.
My question to you, obviously, because at the same time you say that the women's roster needs her, but at the same time we say that the women's roster is stacked, especially on the NXT side.
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you is, say tomorrow, all of a sudden, all of the NXT women's, all the women in the NXT roster moves up to the main. They split them between Raw and SmackDown. Do you still, considering how much star power is there, especially regarding after tonight, there's going to be a 10 woman tag match, which is full of all stars.
Mm-hmm.
If they all went up to the main roster, would there still be a place to say that Becky Lynch is needed there, or do you not think that?
I think that if you're talking about we calling up all these star women right now, yeah, because the playing field is different. Raw and SmackDown is booked in viewed differently than NXT is. NXT is virtually on house money, right? They're a smaller scale company. They have a more smaller niche based fan base. They're able to garner and gain attraction, and fans are able to kind of, be fans with them in more of a personal level in that aspect. Where when you talk about the main roster, it's a lot of people that are just geeked to go to a WWE show that may not even watch, wrestling as much, or they may just watch it casually, or they only watch Raw or SmackDown because that's the only time they have able to watch it, right? It's more of a wide range demographic of people, and I feel like you still at the end of the day need star powers, and I think that's kind of what Raw is lacking at the moment, because, and it's not any fault on the talent, because I don't ever want to blame the talent, because you talk about a Liv Morgan, who I also believe was kind of boosted a little bit because of Becky Lynch as well. Obviously, her and Rhea, but Becky obviously putting her over and getting her that title that she has now. You need to build women to that point. I don't think they have a lot of women that are built for the main event scene at the moment. That's why we complain about it all the time. That's why the booking for Liv has kind of been rinse and repeat. They literally had to pull Bianca and Jade kind of as a get out of jail card when they're on SmackDown to mix it up with Liv now, because they don't really got that many people, right? They're going back to They're going back to the well with Io when she was doing the whole tag team stuff. Like they don't build them up as much. But with Becky, that's kind of an anchor. That's kind of a face of a show type of situation where that's all reliable. You put her in with something, she makes the feud kind of meaningful. It kind of matters at that point, just because you in the ring with her. If you don't know who such and such she's going against, a Lyra or Tiffany, you'll get to know her because you're tuned in because you're watching Becky wrestle.
Right. Okay, so fair enough. Like that. So what you're saying is that the women's locker room is stacked, just not enough star power, and that's where you got someone that's ready made for Becky Lynch.
I mean, it's the same. It's the same thing for men, like for the main event men's division too, right? Like you can't, like, you think Andrade or Carmelo Hayes or people like that are gonna command the entire main event scene out the gate? No. Yeah, right. They're talented enough, but they haven't been built like that. That's why we go to the well of Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso, or Roman Reigns, like people like that, because we know who they are. We have familiarity. They've garnered and gained that merit on their name.
Fair enough. Okay, that's a solid statement. That's a solid start to your case. So we'll start from there for sure. But of course, Megan, the floor is yours. What are your thoughts? Do you agree with anything that Shaz said, or just let it rip? What do you have to say?
Yeah. Well, Shad was doing a lot of talking. He was doing a lot of talking. He ain't the only one that met a women's champion. Okay, I met a women's champion myself. Okay, this is Bianca and that's Jade. And the one thing that Bianca has over Jade is that she is a two-time women's tag team champion. That's one more than Miss Becky Lynch. But that's either here or there. Just speaking a little fact here. But here's my thing. Becky has been wrestling for, I would say, okay, well, first of all, let me point out that me and Becky is the same age. She is only a couple of weeks older than me. So we come from the same time period. And so I know that when it comes down to watching wrestling, she probably watched it more than I did growing up. We came up along with the same people. But my argument is this: to consider her the greatest of all time, and to not acknowledge the women who paved the way for her, despite their personal um, issues, so to speak. I think it defeats the purpose of those who have made it possible for a Becky, a Bianca, a Mercedes, and all the other women that has created their own history moments. Um, Making it possible for them to be in the ring that they are now. You know, you have women who was wrestling before any of us was born. Women like a Fabulous Moolah, who held the women's title for almost 30 years. Now look, however people feel about why she held the belt that long, that's neither that's not the point in my argument. The point of my argument is this. You have had women who had to deal with highly sexist moments in their career, whether they was overlooked, passed up, not given matches, sexual assault. The history behind wrestling and those women, like a Miss Elizabeth, like a Sensational Sherry, like a Mae Young, who had to deal with those things and still prospered and still became legendary, iconic in the women's division. And even the women later on, like the Trish Stratuses, the Litas, the Ivories, the Jacquelines, you know, e- to me, if you don't acknowledge history, you are bound to repeat it. To acknowledge Becky on a list of 20 people, 19 other men, and to put her on the list, like I said, I had an argument with her being at the end of the list, but for them to look in the history of women's wrestling and to choose her of all the women who had paved the path for her, I think it's despicable. I think it's disrespectful. I think it's not acknowledging those women. And, you know, th- to me, there's nothing that Becky has done in my eyes. Maybe I'm a little biased, that requires her to be the greatest of all time. She is a fantastic wrestler. She is good on the mic. Sometimes Becky gets on my nerves. Sometimes I still like her, but but um, you know, for someone like me who grew up watching someone like China fighting men, whooping on them, whipping their asses, the first intercontinental champion as a woman, you know, and to not even acknowledge her as one of the greatest wrestlers, I just it hurts my heart, you know. I mean, this woman has passed on and she can't even get inducted into the Hall of Fame. It's like it is we are erasing her from history. And like I said, this is to know I have no qualms with Becky, but she's not the greatest of all time in my book. Maybe in a couple of years, maybe, but she's not to me. And you know, that's just that's just where I'm at right now. So
Hmm.
how I feel. I feel like
Boy.
erasing women's history
So
by placing
go ahead,
her
go ahead.
there. Go ahead,
Chad?
child. Speak your
Can I
mind.
rebuttal? No, I just want to make something kind of
Yeah,
evident. One, I think it's asinine that there isn't multiple women on the top 20 in the WWE list that we're talking about, right? I'm
right.
not saying that, and I'm also not speaking from a place where I don't think a lot of other women deserve to be on that list. A lot of the women that you mentioned definitely should be on the list. My only argument, obviously, to what we're talking about is I think Becky is top of the top when we talk about women's wrestlers in WWE history. Now, to what you said, I think it holds a lot of merit. Obviously, trailblazers are trailblazers at the end of the day. If we don't have, a Moolah, a China, and stuff like that, we don't have what we have now in women's wrestling. And I can acknowledge that, and I definitely agree with that. But I always compare stuff to sports in a way. You talk about a person like a Bill Russell. You talk about a person like a Wilt Chamberlain. They are trailblazers. They set the game for us. But does that mean they're better than a Michael Jordan? Does that mean they're better than a LeBron James? You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like two things can be true. You can, set the foundation, but not be the best at your craft. Like I don't think it necessarily, I wouldn't put a time frame in being the first to surpass of what a better superstar is, because Becky's age is Becky's age. She was born the year she was born. She came into wrestling when she came into wrestling. That isn't something that she could have, changed or altered. I just think if we're talking about if you put Moolah's career next to Becky's career and you look at their accomplishments and even just talk about textbook stuff as professional wrestlers, I think Becky wipes the floor with her on a lot of that stuff. I think she wipes the floor with Trish on a lot of stuff, and I think Trish is someone that can make a good argument towards it as well.
Trish, I'm gonna do a quick one. So like just what you said, Trish. I also feel like Trish came out at the wrong era. I feel like
Yes,
if she
that's
came
what I
out
was
now,
about to say.
she could actually be better than Becky Lynch, in my opinion.
Absolutely. That's
Well,
that's the argument that I
yeah,
wanted to lead into. I mean, to say that she is a better wrestler because of the things that she happens to accomplish now is not to acknowledge that a lot of those women may have had the ideas that Becky had and could not accomplish those things because they was under the ruling of a Vince McMahon who
I,
felt like
yeah.
these women wrestlers should look a certain way, act a certain way, wrestle a certain way, and that's it.
Mhm. No,
So again, you still are acknowledging the things that Becky has done, but she has since had more freedom to do these things compared to these women. Like
Mm-hmm.
Chaos said, if a Trish
yeah.
Stratus had came out in during the Diva era, along with the Bellas, the Naomi, I don't think she would be crawling around in the ring, barking
That's
like
a
a
fair point.
dog.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Well, one thing also I want to say as well, like I remember the comparison that you said, Shad, as well, to you, with the Chamberlains and are they better than Michael Jordan? I think with that aspect, I also you gotta include. I think that goes under, like, they also have got to have mainstream appeal as well. So like obviously which Becky Lynch obviously has,
Yeah.
China, Sable, Jacqueline. Sure, they're trailblazers, but they didn't have the mainstream appeal as such. Maybe China probably was the closest. Trish definitely had mainstream appeal. Sable, to a degree, had a bit of mainstream appeal. Becky is definitely up there, so you got to obviously put all those kind of factors in as well.
But we're
Um
talking about trailblazing and pushing women's wrestling into a healthier space. Obviously, it can always improve, and it should improve in today's day and age. It's
mhm.
damn near not perfect, right? But like, she's also a anchor in that sense too. Like, you talk about the four horsewomen, I feel like they kind of are the backbone of why we have a lot of what we have in mainstream wrestling for women's wrestling to kind of flourish, in a sense. Like, you see a lot of these women's wrestlers that are coming up, they damn near look up to like a Charlotte, a Mercedes, a Bailey, a Becky Lynch, right? Like, I feel like they've kind of damn near revolutionized professional wrestling
Mhm.
for women's wrestling in a way.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can even get into that, but I mean,
Why not?
I mean,
get to it.
you do have these four horsewomen, Mercedes, Bailey, Becky, and Charlotte, but then you have some women today who can out wrestle a Mercedes. They're probably better on the mic than a
Mhm.
Bailey. They're stronger than a Charlotte,
Right.
and probably have more personality than a Becky. So, you know, my argument is I think it's like what Chaos said. I think popularity has kind of made a determination on who is better than who. I can look at a lot of these indie women wrestlers that I feel would be top notch women wrestlers. I mean, you got Roxanne right now already putting in who she feels is the new four 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 horsewomen. Her,
Mhm.
Cora, Julia, Stephanie. And
Mhm.
when I look at them compared to our women, I wouldn't necessarily say that they are better than any of them. Becky, Sasha, any of them. But I do know that when it comes down to different generations, you look at youth, you look at popularity, mainstream appeal, and you might declare them as being better wrestlers. Now, like I said, I took a break between the whole diva era. So maybe I'm not the right person to speak on that time. I wasn't watching
Mhm.
wrestling at the time. But, not to sound like a broken record, but there were a lot of women wrestlers who did kind of push the envelope a little bit, but they got a whole lot of pushback. And so, you know, when I look at women like Amali Holly, when I look at women like a Ivory, those women, Jacqueline, those women that helped train, built up the wrestlers that we have today. Um, it just goes to show that they have been through a lot that could have I mean, we could have saw that evolution even then. We could have seen it. We could have seen that change. We could have seen the we could have seen what we see today, and
100.
we don't. And we didn't. We didn't. And I kind of wanted to go back to what Chaos has said because I feel like, do you think that the mainstream with Stable and China helped due to the fact that they had posed for Playboy? Because Playboy was kind of like the magazine at the time, and you only had a
Yeah.
very few of them, like a Tori Wilson. Tori Wilson had posed with somebody else. I can't remember. She had
I'm not
posed
sure.
with someone. I can't
Okay.
remember who it was. But
I wasn't allowed
do
to
you
look at those magazines as a kid. My mom would beat my ass.
Where there's a will, there's a way, Shad. Trust me. But fair enough.
Is it
I ain't
Stacy?
going
Probably like Stacy Keebler or something like that.
I know Stacy did. I know Melina did. I know Tori did. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. But do you think that may have helped them
100%.
with the mainstreaming? Because I mean, I know a lot of people. Well, look, I'm not going to get into that. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about. But I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to disrespect her like that. But yeah, I just don't see what you see when it comes down to her being the fourth woman in the evolution. Um, I just feel like she helped pushed it. She is
Okay.
not the Rosa Parks
What
of
bef-
the
bef-
women's evolution.
before I get to you, Shad, let me just ask let me ask Megan this quick question since she doesn't feel like she's the fourth one. Who would you replace her with? Out of curiosity.
Um, if we were going to back in history, I would definitely put China. I would I would 100% put China to
Okay, so
replace.
if she was alive today and overseeing this, so it would be Charlotte, Sasha. Who's the other one?
I
Haley.
I don't
Bailey.
I don't even think I would put Sasha there.
Okay, then. So there's two people that's getting kicked out. Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, listen.
I'm talking about the four horsewomen, by the way. That's what I'm saying. So
Oh,
like,
you're Mount Rushmore of the women, I guess, because they won that.
oh,
Okay.
right, got it.
Yeah, I was
All
talking
right.
about the four horsewomen is them because them four came up together in NXT, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
they're
okay,
always kind of like tied to the hip amongst each other.
Right.
yeah. Okay, fair enough. Okay, but still, either way,
Um.
you
Okay.
play.
So the Mount Rushmore of women. I would have to definitely put Fabulous Moolah from the past.
Mm-hmm,
I would put China.
mm-hmm.
I would put Trish. And I mean, this might sound biased, but I'm gonna put Bianca up there for obvious reasons.
Wow. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, that's a fair list. What about
Fix
you,
your
Shad? Do you have
face,
anything?
Shad. Fix your face.
Yeah. What's you have anything
What?
else?
He was disappointed. I saw them names and he was just like, oh,
I'm
like
listening to you. Look, bro, I'm being respectful. I'm listening to your answers. Damn, man. I ain't even do nothing. Well, shit, my Mount Rushmore. Why you gotta
yes,
put me on the solo thing while I gotta tell mine,
yes.
dog?
Come on,
What the fuck
put him
is
on the summer
this
jam.
kind of?
Put him on the summer jam screen. Come on.
Oh my god,
I
man.
gotta listen to the lady. I'm sorry.
Oh man. Becky Lynch, Trish Stratus. Um, this is tough. Mickey James,
Oh
I put
wow.
on there, and then I'll put Bianca Belair on there. I'll put Bianca on there. I think this is the thing, right? To me, Becky Lynch is Tom Brady, and Bianca Belair is Patrick Mahomes. Bianca Belair is going to surpass Becky Lynch for me. She is in her prime doing what she's going to do, right? I think Patrick Mahomes is physically more gifted than Tom Brady, but it's just like I can't like she's put so much ground. Like I'm telling you, like I don't know. Maybe I'm speaking in such a kayfabe manner, but like
No.
accomplishments matter to me, and I think she's accomplished a lot. We're talking, and I feel like a lot of it is moments too. We're talking about two belts back, right? Having the SmackDown and the Raw title both together, right? We're
Right.
talking about winning Royal Rumbles. We're talking about main event in WrestleMania. Let's talk about having long bloodshed against Nia Jax, right? Creating that moment, right? That which creates the man. We're talking about the man. We'll talk about a woman who's kind of when WWE was looking for a star, and this is when Roman Reigns wasn't even getting as much love, and they're trying to force feed it. They had that star, and they had it in a woman, and they had it in Becky, and I feel like a lot of that can't be brushed off in a way. Maybe I think highly of her than other people do, but I feel that she's put a lot of groundwork in, and we're talking about generations and stuff, right? Well, time always goes in lapses, and we're talking about her being here for almost a decade into professional wrestling. I feel like that is a time lapse, right? That's an era of professional wrestling that she's dominated and put a lot of work in, right? And now we're looking at Bianca Belair, who we just talked about. We're talking about from like 2018 to now. She put a lot of work in, right? She was the best superstar in WWE, almost next to a tribal chief during the pandemic era. And that type of stuff is gonna hold a lot of merit to me. Like it's them type of talents that I know that I can rely on them and they're gonna hold the fort down and they're gonna like get the reaction, all of that. And they're just that damn special. I think she's that damn special as a talent. And a lot of it also just comes off of the fact that she doesn't. She, she's just a small little Irish girl, man. Right? She not the biggest, she not the strongest, she not the fastest, none of that, right? She's not, coming out with the, sex appeal respectfully, like as that we're talking about when Trish and all of them did, Sable, all of that. She just looks like a everyday average person. But when that bell rings, when she comes out, when she cuts a promo, you're locked in. You're like, yo, she's pretty damn cool. What is she getting into? And then you see everything tied to it. Like, I think that's something that does hold a little bit of merit to me. And a lot of it was read in this book too.
See, my Faye doesn't have a biography yet, but when she do, we're gonna bring this back up
She
because
got a show. She got a show.
Just out of curiosity, it's probably a dumb question, but I gotta ask: have you read the book? Finished it?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, fair enough. And it's a good read. You recommend it?
It's a good read, man. I think Becky Lynch is a very, and even talking to her for like a 10-minute conversation when I did at the book signing, man, like, is a very personable person, but like, I love, and this is obviously outside of like wrestling, but like about the person, man, like just seeing how much she loves, her marriage, she loves her child, she loves women's wrestling, she loves the grind, the adversity, like all the bullshit she had to go through too, like being afraid to tell your boss that you're having a baby because he'd be out on some bullshit. Like when Vince was like still there before the pandemic, she was telling Seth, I don't know if I want to tell him because he's gonna get pissed off, and I don't know if he's gonna fire me because I'm pregnant, like type shit or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that is interesting, and it's a great read. And you definitely get, like, I think it's in a perspective where like you can hear her telling these stories and whatnot. Like it's a very well written memoir for sure.
Okay. Megan,
Yes.
what would it take for you to actually, if there is any chance, for you to be like, all right, cool, she is actually one of the GOATs, and acknowledge, pun intended, acknowledge Becky Lynch as one of the greatest of all time? Like, what would it take for you to be like, okay, she's a real one?
Well, firstly, the argument isn't whether or not she is one of the greatest of all time, because I thought I made it clear that I do acknowledge that she is one of the best. The argument is whether or not she is the best of the best, better than all the women that has came before her, better than all the women that has came after her in every aspect of the form, in the mic, on the mic, in the ring, promos, building people up, pushing people. If she is the best out of every single woman wrestler in the history of WWE. And no, I do not think so. I think that there are plenty of other women who may be better than her in the ring, better than her on the mic, just overall a better athlete, a better woman wrestler, a better women's champion. Um, so is there a, a way? No, because I'm always going to feel that someone is stronger than her in one way, shape, or form. And to say that you are the greatest of all time is to say that you are better in every way, shape, or form than every other person. And I cannot say that with her, not with an honest heart. I can't. Um, it's it. If we speak on basketball, some people might say Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time. Some people might say Kobe is the greatest of all time. Some people might say Shaq. Some people might say LeBron.
Jesus. Sorry. That's a knee-jerk reaction when the people say LeBron. I'm sorry. Or
I
if it's,
mean,
yeah, fair enough.
some people might, I mean, if we're gonna argue with in the aspect of, let's say, singers, would we take away the popularity of today. Take away the fame and the fortune of today. If you could sit both, let's say, a Tina Turner and a Beyonce across from each other, can you say, in all honesty, that Beyonce is better than Tina Turner? Knowing that Tina Turner is an inspiration to Beyonce, knowing that if you watch her performances, you see a lot of Tina in her performances. Could you say, without a shadow of a doubt, that uh, let's even go a little further. Let's go in another lane. Let's say we're talking social justice activists, lawyers. If you look at a Johnny Cochran, and then you have who we have today, Ben Crump. Can you say, without a shadow of a doubt, that Ben Crump is a far better freedom fighter, attorney for black rights than a Johnny Cochran or an Al Sharpton or um, I'm blanking right now, but there's a lot of them, who has inspired him to being who he is today, to helping us, to speak out for us, to advocate for us. You know, that's just my point. And I feel like a lot of those women, going back a little bit, like a Fabulous Moolah, like a Mae Young, they had to deal with strong men, sexist men, men who look down upon women. And they had to be 10 times as tough, 10 times as strong to just not even be considered an equal to these men. They had to be strong women. You couldn't be feminine around those men because it might not necessarily be safe for you to be super feminine. And then as the years went by, you had women like the cat, women like Stable, women like Deborah. This is before Trish coming along, who had to be those sex symbols. They had to be. They'll tell you in their stories, it was by force. If I didn't do it, I wouldn't have a job. And again, these women had to deal with sexist, sometimes racist environments, you know,
Yeah.
um, and still managed to make it possible for someone like Lita, who had sex appeal, but she was still a tomboy in a sense, or someone like China, who made it possible for someone to be muscular, like a Jazz, or like Shamika, and later on Jade and Bianca, where you can still have sex appeal and still be very strong, or Victoria, even Victoria,
Hmm.
um, and so on and so forth. Now, like I said, I look at these women and I can, if you ask me what about those women I feel is better than Bianca, better than Becky, I could point out different things that I feel would make them better than her. So, just to bring it back to the original answer, I feel like as long as I can find someone that I feel is better than her in that sense, I just can't, with faith, say that she is the greatest of all time. I don't even feel like Bianca is the greatest of all time just yet. I think she's, like Shad said, she still have a lot of years and a lot of, um, she has a lot of things that she has to prove. But no,
Yeah.
I can't. I don't think there's anything. Sorry,
Fair
sorry,
enough.
Shad.
Fair enough.
You ain't gotta apologize to me. I mean, a lot. Honestly, I'll be real with you. A lot of that I can't speak on because I'm not a woman, right? And
Right.
a lot of that isn't my place to kind of speak on because it's something that I feel kind of stupid to try to talk about, be like, well, this, down the third, because I acknowledge and all of that is true and whatnot. So, from my point of view, I'm honestly just speaking off of a professional wrestling standpoint, right? And I think a lot of what you're saying holds a lot of merit and a lot of valuable thing. And I understand your perspective a lot on it, and I don't want to short sell any of that or make it seem like I'm just like, fuck all of that shit that they went through, right? This is what I stand by, like,
No,
type of stuff.
listen, I don't want you to feel like you can't speak on women wrestlers and stuff, and I don't want you to feel like that you will be negating anything that I say. This is a debate. So I don't
Yeah,
want you to feel
but
as though you
for
can't,
sure,
say those things.
for sure. But like to that point, though, obviously, a lot of it is of what a lot of those women did kind of holds their staying in history, but history
Hmm.
always progresses too, right? Like
Yeah,
we're going years upon years upon years. So when does it? When do we appreciate those who are doing what they're doing now? Because they're making history at this current juncture of time
right,
in a way too, right? And they're doing stuff that honestly can be bigger and better than what we've seen before. And that doesn't take anything away from what they accomplished in the past. That's just the truthful matter it is. No disrespect to Alita and Trish Stratus, right? They had one of the best matches that main evented the Monday Night Raw. But that ain't better than Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks at a WrestleMania. That ain't better than the triple threat match with Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda Rousey, right? Like there's like we're seeing moments happen in real time, and even within the last 5 to 10 years, where I feel like it ain't disrespectful to appreciate that and give it its flowers while it's happening in real time, where I don't think it is bashing or not acknowledging or disrespecting the people that what they've done in the past. That's kind of where my mindset is. I feel like history is being made every single day in pro wrestling. Like tonight, we were about to see 10 incredible women. Oh, this will be past that time, but on NXT, we about to see 10 women. We might be talking about one of these women in the match tonight as a GOAT in 5 years, right?
yeah,
We might be saying, Stephanie Vaquer might be the greatest women's wrestler of all time. Julia might be the greatest women's wrestler of all time. Like they might state their case because they're getting the merit of like, they people saying Roxanne Perez is the best women's wrestler this year for what she's done, matches, title reigns, and all of that. So I feel like for that standpoint, feel I feel like it's a blend, right? I feel like you should give things time before you crown them the GOAT. Like we were talking about Bianca Belair. It may be a little premature to call her the GOAT just because she's kind of really picked up steam for better half of 4 or 5 years now, right? She got to the main roster, and I consider that's like when we kind of saw Bianca Belair become who she is now, right? Compared whatever. So maybe that might be premature, but I mean, we can also acknowledge that I don't think there's a women's wrestler, better than her in wrestling at the moment, like that type of things, like or in the last few years. And to me, I feel like Becky's given us a little bit of time where it's been almost 10 years, right? And you peel back the moments that she's made, like I was saying, the matches that she's had, a lot of great matches, promo exchanges, like everything in totality. I just think that she's a, incredible top of the notch women's wrestler in the history. And that, to me, I feel like I haven't seen everyone kind of mesh it all together better than she has when you talk about just everything in totality. I feel like she, garners like the thing of this promos and talking is something that you either got or you don't got. They try to force feed it with wrestlers nowadays and it don't hit. And for her, she really talk with a lot of confidence. She's able to talk and we've seen people fumble the fucking bag when they come in that arena on a Monday night where you hear all the what chants or you hear the worst dead crickets. Nothing. Get nothing. What Roman say? No pop. Right? But she's able to.
the best crickets is who's the Where's the Lie guy? What's his name?
Which one?
Where's the Lie? Where's the Lie? Who's it? He was part of this.
Oh, Bobby. Was it Bobby Fish?
Bobby Fish. Yeah. He's, no pop. Definitely. God damn. He's
no pop. But I feel like she's able to command a room, and that's something that I don't think a lot of wrestlers can do in this industry. Like, respectfully, I feel like that's something that goes unsaid.
I see somebody like Bianca go to a country where women are second and maybe even third citizens. And I see nothing but men in that arena dancing.
Yeah, on Raw, it looked good.
Yeah, for sure. So and Bianca has that factor too.
Yeah, I mean, well, I wish this argument was a Bianca versus Becky.
It kind of was in a way. Like Bianca's been a lot. So yeah.
But I guess
I don't want that argument because I don't want to talk anything negative about Bianca Belair. I would just say you win and not even say
the fact that he feels like he would have to say something bad about her.
No, I don't. The only case I would have for Bianca versus Becky is I think Bianca is a substantially better athlete. Like I think Bianca Belair is a better athlete than fucking anybody on WWE right now, to be honest with you. I don't think. Maybe besides, she's a better athlete than her husband, and her husband's a top class athlete. Like,
well, that's because of booking. But we could get into that later. But I do agree.
And it is booking too. I will give you that. I think WWE's main roster women's booking is dog shit upon dog shit. I think it's really especially this year is really bad. So to go back to even what Chaos said about Monday Night Raw, like I think Becky helps out because it's a get out of jail card type of situation. Because like, reliable, slide that in real quick. Even when Rhea got hurt, put it on Becky, slide that in real quick, let her and Liv get a little bit, and then help Liv get over with that, and then you could take your little vacation or whatever is occurring right now, right? Like that type of situation where, they haven't built anybody up really. Like it ain't a talent issue; it is the booking issue. And when the booking becomes so bad, then as a fan, you start thinking it's a talent issue. Because I think Shayna Baszler is fucking amazing from NXT.
Oh yeah,
but I don't want to see her wrestle at all on a Monday Night Raw with Studline.
Yeah,
Studline.
That's
better name than PFC still.
Yeah. Terrible name.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so
yeah. No, go ahead.
Oh, fair enough. No, I was just gonna say. I mean, what? It kind of feels like we've come to a little bit of an impasse regarding this.
Yeah, because I mean
the first impasse of these debates, by the way. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, I feel like
after the 53-minute mark, so it's pretty good.
I think it's the I think it's the emotion of the day, the mood of the day, that is kind of altering this debate. Because let me tell you, Chaos, I was ready. Okay, I was ready to shot for the sense of entertainment, right? I was ready for it. I do think, like I said,
there was a person in the comments saying Michelle McCool is better than Becky Lynch.
Jesus.
Now here's the thing. Now I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far. Like that
we'll go. Even if I want to put Victoria in anywhere near Becky Lynch.
I can agree to that.
Yeah,
I can agree to that.
If you're giving me Trish, if you're giving me Bianca, fine. Lita, I can understand. Like China as well, right? These are people that are trailblazers, or they've done enough. Like there are enough household names where I'm like, okay, I can understand where you're coming from. You're wrong, but I can understand where you're coming from. But if you're throwing like Michelle McCool, come on, bro.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
that's
some people might even argue the Bella twins. You know,
Bella twins.
Trash. I think the Bella
I didn't
twins
say it.
are not. I think they're not good wrestlers.
No. I mean,
But
one's better than the other, but no, yeah, they're not.
right.
Yeah.
What is
But
what is
yeah, so at the end of the day, she is a goat, just not the goat. And that is the difference in my book. Like I said, I
Okay.
would never take away her accolades, but to say that she is the greatest and the best of all time and better than every other woman, that is what you're saying when you're saying she is the GOAT. She is the one
Hmm.
and only. And
Yeah.
I can't say that.
Okay, all right. So,
That's
so
not it.
what can we just? All right, fair enough. So you're not saying that she is the goat. She's one. She's one of the goats. Can
She one of the
Shad
GOATs.
accept that? Or okay, or maybe not. Oh, no,
No,
he's saying
no,
no.
because
He's
he
not.
biased.
The goat.
Okay,
He
fair
biased.
enough.
Bah. The goat.
Yeah. She's bad. No, I'm playing. I have
Oh
no horse in this race.
no.
This is
Oh,
between y'all. I'm just the
I'm a married.
middleman.
I'm a married man, and I don't want Seth Rollins to curb stomp me. So nah.
Give you the Bronson Reed treatment.
Oh gosh.
No.
Yeah.
Fair enough. You both brought some very very valid points
Yeah.
to the table, and yeah, I can agree with most of them, if not all of them, pretty much. It is a valid argument. Um, I will not give my thoughts on here because yeah, it will just mean that I'm just choosing one side or the other. I'm just the middleman in this one. I'll save those for another episode of Take It to the Table. But
Let the comments pick. Y'all comment
yes,
who y'all think the GOAT is, or if I'm right and you think Becky is the GOAT.
yes. Are y'all team Becky or y'all team
Team anybody else.
anybody else?
Yes.
Hashtag team anybody else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hashtag anybody else.
Fair dues. Well, yeah. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of this debate episode. I think this is episode number 4, I believe. Yeah, I think this is episode number 4. So
Oh, I knew before.
yeah, definitely.
I thought there was like a whole catalog of episodes and
Oh
debates.
no, this episode only come out when a really hot when someone summons it, basically. And
It's the
yeah,
second.
like,
It's the second, and I've had 2 debate episodes.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Jordy debated the Liv and Rhea thing when
Yes.
Oh, right.
the feud was actually worth debating.
yeah, yeah. When it was
Well,
actually hot. Yeah.
I don't feel like I gave Shad my true self. So when another debate does come up, we will knock on your door
You
again.
telling me that you
Yeah.
held back, Megan? What the fuck? What are you doing this?
It's been a sad day.
Okay.
It's been a sad day today.
Fair enough.
America is in mourning.
Yeah,
Fair enough. Okay,
for
say no
sure.
more. Say no more. Say no more. I understand that. Totally understand that. We'll leave it at that. So yeah, just write it out for the next 4 years. That's all I can hear. That's I'm praying for you. That's what I'm praying for you. Look, we're just as bad. The UK is in tatters as well. So we've joined the club. It's all good. It is what it is. But anyway, this is a joyous episode. All right. So yeah, this is something to take your minds off, and I hope it did somewhat.
Yeah.
And yeah, so yeah, on that note, thank you very much, Megan, for your debut episode. I hope you enjoyed it being in at the table, and of
I
course
did.
that's good to hear. And thank you very much, Shad, for joining us, and I'm sure we will see you soon. Well, we'll see you both soon at the table, whether it is a debate or a game episode or anything like that. It's the table is available. So
Yeah.
on that note, as like I said, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Let us know if your thoughts on, do you agree on the Becky Lynch debate. But until next time, guys, I have been your host, Chaos. She has been the lovely Megan. Down below has been the legendary Shad. Until next time, guys. Peace.
It's chaos.